what's sad here on their part is, yes, the American people do want a serious debate. The notion, and this is why this criticism is going to fall flat, because Barack Obama is more than eager to engage the question of whether it makes political sense, whether it's strong foreign policy, whether it is effective to meet with your enemies. And he draws a distinction between meeting with state officials like those in Iran and Syria and Venezuela and Cuba with the head of a terrorist organization like Hamas. Now, I may even disagree with that to some extent, in that Hamas actually has a political foothold in the Palestinian Authority. They are different than Al-Qaeda in that respect, and I agree with Jimmy Carter that he should have met with Hamas. If Barack Obama disagrees with that, Jimmy Carter should have met with Hamas. I have a disagreement with Barack Obama. But that is Obama's position, and it's because a liberal like me agrees with Jimmy Carter. You can't put that on Barack Obama. Fact of the matter is that Barack Obama and John McCain have the same exact position in regards to Hamas. They have a different position in regards to these other heads of state, and that is a perfectly legitimate subject for debate. And again, one that Barack Obama is more than happy to have, because the McCain foreign policy is the same as the Bush foreign policy, and it's been a giant disaster for 7 years, and it's John McCain that has to explain why that judgment should be continued. He doesn't want to have that debate. He'd rather play the guilt by association game, because that's all he's got. And they're going to have to look, they have to think very seriously. And this is a big risk for McCain, because the only reason why McCain is even remotely competitive in this race, he is generally tied with Obama and Clinton in general election polls, although the most recent New York Times CBS poll had Obama, I believe it was 11 points up. Interesting to see how these polls look in a few days after it sinks in that Obama's going to be the nominee. But the reason why he is more competitive than your average Republican, because if you say, do you want a Democrat or Republican, it's a much, much wider lead. McCain outperforms your generic Republican, is because independents and moderates see him as not so much like Bush and other conservatives. They have, there's been a sense that John McCain is an independent maverick, and he's not a party line conservative, and that is appealing to a lot of swing voters. If John McCain traffics in this gutter politics, if John McCain echoes the same conservative party line, if John McCain makes loud and clear that he's going to have the exact same foreign policy as George Bush, whatever claim he has on independent voters is going to fritter away. I think it's going to fritter away anyway, because just on the policy merits, it's going to become clearer and clearer. John McCain, I think this is his high watermark. No one's laid a glove on this guy for 2 months. He's made gaffe after gaffe after gaffe. He's revealed so much about where he stands on the issues in very inelegant ways that it's going to be pretty easy to run against this guy in the end. You know, the best that they have against Barack Obama is race baiting, is guilt by association, is exploiting divisions in the country. That failed the Democratic primary. I suspect it will fail the general election. I suspect that people are so fed up with how this country has been run by conservatives for the past 7 years, they're going to be wide open to Barack Obama's message. And I bet we're going to have that debate in the end, despite what McCain is trying to do, because as you saw from the CNN interview, Barack Obama knows how to handle it. In a matter of 60 seconds, he got way under their skin. You're going to have a very clear contrast, not just by the candidates, but by their campaigns, of one campaign that is cool, calm, and collected, that is not rattled by crises, that is expounding clear judgment consistently, and a campaign that is hot-headed, rash, defensive, irritable, and repeatedly showing poor judgment. And to the extent that you might agree with the McCain campaign, that saying losing his bearings was intended to be an ageist slap, after that Mark Salter statement came out, Barack Obama's campaign manager put out a statement saying, clearly losing one's bearings has nothing to do with age, as evidenced by Mark Salter's, quote, bizarre rant. So these Obama guys, men and women, in his campaign, they're pretty sharp. They're pretty quick. It's a good team. It's a guy at the top with strong judgment. And I think we can be very excited and eager to have the general election battle be joined, because there are big issues at play. There's going to be clear contrast to be had. This is not going to be a campaign where we're going to have the same pool of political consultants using the same focus group tested buzzwords to blur differences on the issues. You will have that clear contrast on foreign policy. Do we meet with our enemies and negotiate in good faith with steely, tough diplomacy, or do we continue to isolate the world, try to occupy foreign countries, and have that blow back in our face? Are we going to have a universal health care program that guarantees affordable choice of health care plans, quality plans for everyone, or the McCain health care plan revealed recently, where he would sever employer health benefits? He would leave consumers out on their own in an unregulated Wild West so-called free market for insurance companies and drug companies to prey on them, to force people to pay $12,000 a year for health insurance, get a measly tax credit that can't even possibly make up even half of that cost. It is a radical, preposterous health care plan, and that's going to be a clear contrast going forward. There's going to be many, many issues like that. We're going to have a clear choice in front of us, and it's going to be a lot of fun to have that debate. We're going to have more fun in this presidential campaign than we've had in a long, long time. I'm excited. I hope you're excited, and we're going to get to it right away. After the break, very exciting interview ahead with Jessica Valenti, feministing.com, author of the new book, He's a Stud, She's a Slut, and 49 Other Double Standards That Every Woman Needs to Know. What does she have to think? What does she have to say about how this presidential campaign went? Jessica Valenti after this break.